Well, that's why it's so hard for people to forgive, because most people don't have to suffer to a point where they realize that forgiveness actually works. They don't have to. They don't have to deal with that. Mm-hmm. I have. And that's all I can say is, and I know it works. Mm-hmm. At the very least, I don't have to dwell on it.
Scott, I was watching a TED talk on forgiveness, and there was one quote in there I'd like to share with you. Forgiveness is only right when waiting for what we are owed comes at too high a cost. Maybe you could reflect on that for us?
Sure. That's like I was saying earlier, that's kind of open to interpretation, I think, but I relate to it because I know for a fact that if I hadn't forgiven the person who deliberately ran me down and killed me with his car, that I would not have healed. Because I've had several instances in the past that validated that and allowed me and prompted me to have one of those four thoughts that I had on the way to the hospital. Again, I'll go over them again, which was, well, here we go again. I'm just going to be back on the drugs. Well, that really sucks. 2, oh, well, the food's going to suck. That was my humorous one. 3, I had a talk with the universe, and I was told that I will get through this and that I'm going to help people, which is why we're doing this now. That I'm going to take my experiences and help them, because I've been in that situation more than once since I've been hit twice before by people being negligent. I had a lot of anger. I was in good shape playing tennis and, basically living my life okay. And here come these couple people who recklessly and negligently put my life in danger and ruined my life. And so I held on to that anger, even though there were times where I thought I'd let go. I hadn't. It was just buried down deep. And the second time I got hit at the T-bone, when I broke my back, the second time, I got so angry that it put me in such a dark place, was so back into the addiction. I went to all those coping places that you go to when you have nothing else. And it was because I couldn't get past the anger. And that anger feeds the pain. Okay? So, like I was just saying a minute ago, I had some really enlightening moments where I'd be in severe pain during the day and then realized that I was stressed about something. And as soon as I realized it and I got myself unstressed, the pain went away. And I have so many places where the pain will go, because that's what happens. You have a weak spot in your body, and that's when you get stressed, that's where it goes. That's why stress is a killer. And that's how it manifests in so many different diseases. On the flip side of it, if you can get past that, and in this case, the forgiveness becomes a big issue, because if I can forgive this person, which was my other thought, I'm really, truly going to forgive this guy. I'm not just going to say it. I'm going to believe it. And by doing that, I didn't have to think about what a fucker he was. And I didn't have to get into conversations with people about it, going, oh man, that son of a bitch, I hope he fries. And, I bet I'm going to take every bit of money he's got. Now, sure, I wanted restitution, but I did not want to dwell into all that negative stuff, because I knew it was just going to stress me out and it was going to increase my pain. And beyond that, I just knew it was the wrong thing to do. Why make this kid worse when maybe I can even help him? And that's what I did when I confronted him in court. I told him what he did to me. But I told him, I said, I forgive you, because I don't want you to ruin your life. I want you to take this as a mistake you made, and I want you to grow from it. And then all the times and months and hours and surgeries and wheelchairs and awful times that I went through these last 3 years, I didn't have to deal with any of that. I purged it. And it's the price. I paid that price, but I also got a tremendous amount of wisdom from it, which I think is going to be helpful. I know it's helpful for me. I mean, they call me the miracle man. I'm a miraculous recovery. I can do pretty much most everything I used to be able to do. I still have some limitations. I got some metal in my body. I still have pain. I have a numb leg. I have a shoulder that doesn't work all the way. But I can do what I want to do with my life. And it's helped me with the PTSD. And now, letting go at even a deeper level is helping me even more. Because the more that you believe you can heal, the more you're going to heal. The doctors will be your mechanics, and they will fix your broken parts, and they will sew up your holes, and they will do, but they're not trained, and they're not able to give you the the equally important things that most of us don't get a chance to do. We don't even have a chance to see it because our society has trained us to sue people and do all that. Now, again, we sued him and we did our thing, and because that was just, but beyond that, by me being able to let go, I'm healing more and more all the time. Mm-hmm. Now I have a new doctor who's giving me this new light therapy, and the light penetrates my cells, and it immediately, within seconds, gets rid of my neuropathy. But if I were to go to that doctor angry, I'll bet you that it wouldn't work. Mm-hmm. It might work as far as the physical process of the healing and the cells being re-stimulated and ejecting the bad stuff and bringing the stem cells into repair, but I would still have pain, more pain, because I would be clenching up somehow, being angry, being resentful, and it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. And this from we just talked about this about politics. When people pit other people against each other, you just get more of it. You're adding fuel to the fire. That's where that came from. So if you don't add that fuel, maybe you're not as involved in the politics, but you're a lot happier. Okay? And I don't want to make this political. I'm just using this as an example with this guy who hit me. I've even said hi to him when I've seen him. I've hugged his mom, telling her I hope her son's okay, when he skipped the country after he hit me, afraid he was going to go to jail forever. His mom, I saw her on the street, and I asked her how she was crying. I said, "Are you all right?" She goes, "No, I just got off the phone with my son, who hit you. He's in Germany, and he's afraid to come home." And I said, "Look, I feel for you, and I wish you nothing but the best, and I don't hold any grudge towards you. So the legal stuff is what it is." I said, "But I want you to know, from person to person," I said, "I don't have any hatred or anger towards you, and if anything, I just want to see your son get better." Mm-hmm. And it's freeing like you wouldn't believe. Okay. And even the little basic things from now in my life these days, if I get put off by something, like I was on the phone to my friend David Jones, the bass player, and he said he's getting a little impatient in line because somebody had coupons and was slowing him down. He goes, I had to rethink myself and go, wait a minute, why am I being so impatient? Because that's just an expectation that's making you feel worse. Just deal with it. Let it go. What else are you going to do?
Let me ask you, another thing she said was, she said like she did a lot of reading, including, of course, the Bible, and she said, everybody tells you to forgive, but they don't tell you how to do it.
Yeah.
So maybe you could give us some insight in that. In other words, what did she mean by that?
That's a really good question, because I don't know if I would have been able to forgive this kid the way I did if I hadn't had another circumstance happen a few months prior. I was recording my CD, and the drummer I was using agreed to do it for nothing because he was my friend, and he said, I told him I would give him money once we sold CDs. Well, his wife got on his case, and he started giving me a hard time. And it's like, why are you doing this? You know, I told you what this was about. And I got really angry at him. And I used to, if I was wronged, I used to be that resentful guy, and I was really good at like putting people in their place. And I started to do that with him. And then this other guy said to me, he goes, you know, Scott, he goes, I think you're going about this wrong. He goes, you just need to forgive him. I go, okay, but how do you forgive them when you're angry like that? He goes, you have to forgive them in your heart. And what he meant by that is you have to really tell yourself and believe that you're forgiving them. So it's in the degree of how you forgive. Mm-hmm. You have to tell yourself you really forgive that person and live it. You got to live that. And if I hadn't learned that from this kid who used to come to my jams, I couldn't have forgiven this guy the way I did. And that was why, because I knew how to forgive him.
Let me ask you one more. Okay, let's look at it another way. I mean, somebody does something really bad to us, right? Mm-hmm. You or me. It could be a number of things. And we kind of like naturally feel that person needs to pay for that action. Mm-hmm. You know, like we want to kind of, you know, vengeance is something, like if we see it in popular movies,
well,
we see a lot of that
for
kind of
something doesn't necessarily need to be vengeance. Mm-hmm. You have retribution, you have, mm-hmm. you know, there's retribution, there's all different sorts of ways mm-hmm. of getting back.
Right.
So, in our legal system, the way of getting back can be either by punishing somebody mm-hmm. or by making them pay, literally making them pay you. You know, if it's that type of thing in a situation where you've been injured by somebody and you can sue them and they have assets that you can take, that's, to me, a valid, you know, you took something from me, you stole from me, and you pay it back.
Right.
The difference is, are you also doing it because you want to see that person suffer? I don't need that person to suffer. He's going to suffer anyway. Not just because he has to pay me, but because he has to live with it. And even if that person never looks at himself and looks deep enough inside to say, I was a dick, or I fucked up, or I did this wrong or that wrong, or I was a bad person, that's still inside them, and it's eating away at them in various ways that will manifest into illness, into drug addiction, into suicidal behavior, into all different kinds of physical and medical conditions. So they pay. You know, you can call it karma, but there's also scientific data that shows that, you know, if you don't cleanse yourself of this stuff, it's going to eat away at you, and it's going to hurt you.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. Are you familiar with the Oxbow incident? It's a
little bit.
Okay, it was about a lynching in a movie, and one of the guys who gets lynched, he's innocent. He writes, "I'm going to die, but you guys have to live with this for the rest of your life. That's what you've done."
That's right. I was just watching a thing on Auschwitz. Same thing. 16-year-old kid said, "You're going to kill me now, but you guys are going to be the ones to live with this." Mm-hmm. You know? You know what that is? Yeah.
Bill Withers, right?